Hillary Clinton got everybody in the media to talk about how Barack Obama is having trouble with white blue-collar workers, right? I don't know. He's going to have trouble nationwide because he can't win over, lower-income white blue-collar workers. Can't do it, right? Except when you look at the numbers, that's not really true. For example, tonight he's going to win in Oregon. And if he doesn't win in Oregon and he loses those voters, okay, then we're going to have a different conversation. But we all expect him to win in Oregon. He's likely to win. And when he does, when you look at Oregon's numbers, you go, interesting. For example, in Ohio, they say, the blue-collar workers, the white workers, didn't go for Barack Obama because Ohio's white and Ohio's got a lot of manufacturing-based voters, and their average income is, a little lower than in some other states, which is, by the way, not necessarily true. So we find out that Ohio is 85% white and 12% black. Oregon is 90% white and less than 2% black. As far as the average income is concerned, Ohio's average income is over $43,000. Oregon's average income is $42,000. So it's less than Ohio. When it comes to the manufacturing base, in fact, 15% of the jobs in Ohio are from the manufacturing base. It turns out in Oregon, that number is 18% from the manufacturing base. So, when you talk, and but okay, in West Virginia though, that's where we really had some white voters and that work in, manufacturing and blue collar, right? No, their manufacturing base is only 17% of the employees in West Virginia. Remember, Oregon is 18%. And also, the number of white folks in West Virginia is also 90%, and so the same exact number as it is in Oregon. And in fact, as percentage-wise, there's less black folks in Oregon than there are in West Virginia. How do you explain that? That one's a little tough to explain. So, perhaps it isn't the blue-collar white folks at all. Perhaps it's a regional thing. And, as they write this article, I'm thinking regional. Wink. Look, we know what the regional thing is, and then they get to the history of what the regional of Kentucky, West Virginia, and the Appalachian area that we talked about that stretches into Ohio and Pennsylvania, and the history of Oregon. The history of Oregon is that, relatively speaking, progressive people moved out there, and there wasn't this history of racism or slavery or any of that stuff. And there wasn't the Appalachian territories. And so does race play a factor there? Look, it's not the only factor, right? But does race play a factor there? Not in terms of white people won't vote for Barack Obama, but racists won't vote for Barack Obama. Of course, of course. Look, I hesitate in making a big deal out of it because I don't want... You know what? To be honest with myself, I just thought of it right now. Honestly, I don't want to admit that parts of the country are that racist. I don't want to admit it to myself because I love this country, and I love West Virginia, and I love Kentucky. I just took a vacation in Kentucky when we were doing our cross-country trip. My favorite part was in West Virginia and Tennessee. But when you look at the numbers, it ain't the poor folks necessarily. It ain't the white folks necessarily. It's the region. I did want to do one small correction here. I said that West Virginia was whiter than Oregon. I was actually referring to Kentucky. That's also the race today. Kentucky is 90% white, as is Oregon, and Oregon is only 1.9% black, and Kentucky's 7.5% black. But he will lose in Kentucky and then win in Oregon.